Have 11 of the Berkline recliners. Those are extremely comfortable. Really happy with those chairs. Of course, you have to have the floor lighting so people can see where they're going in the dark. The foam acoustic panels are more for decoration than anything. They do a little bit of absorption. It's probably not the ideal location for absorption, but I've got LED lights behind them. I don't know if you can see the red glow in the video, but when the lights are off, there's a nice red glow coming from behind the panels, and it looks pretty cool. The screen is DIY. I just bought the Daylight 1.3 gain screen material, made the frame out of 2x6s and 2x4s and trimmed it all out, stretched the material on there, and it's worked out pretty well. It cost about between $500 and $600 total. I think to buy something 144-inch diagonal 2.4 to 1, especially with the 46-foot radius curve, would cost quite a bit more than that. Behind the screen's just supported on these columns. They run floor to ceiling, and they're bolted to the floor and the ceiling. And then the screen is just bolted to that. Probably can't see it, but there's a lot of absorption material back here, especially behind the center speaker, which is open baffle. In fact, everything in the theater is open baffle except for the surrounds and the rears. Subwoofers are open baffle. Center, the main lines are all open baffle. The subwoofers are actually dipoles. The others are actually cordioid because they're using fiber material in the back to delay the rear wave. The whole theater is surrounded by attic space. So we're walking down the side of the theater here in the attic. You can see some of the cabling to go down to the amplifiers. Around the back, the door that goes behind the screen, and all the way around to the other side. So it pretty well contains the sound, and the houses are pretty far apart out here, so that helps a lot too. So I can play this thing pretty much at reference levels or beyond at 2 o'clock in the morning, and nobody's going to complain because nobody can really hear it outside. Using the universal remote MX450, I've been extremely happy with that remote. I'd never had a universal remote in the past that I liked, but that one I like. Works really well. Very easy to program. Doesn't even come with instructions for programming it because they're basically built into it, and it's because it's so intuitive you just don't need instructions. It's all self-explanatory. Along with the MX450, we have the little RF receiver up there that projects the IR over onto the equipment rack. Well, I hope you enjoyed the brief tour of the theater. Sorry I had to do this in such a hurry, so it's not really done very well, but I'm in the process of moving out of the place right now because my job is transferring me out of state for a year or so. So I'm going to have to move out and rent this place out and let the tenants enjoy the theater for a while. But hopefully I'll be able to move back in a year or so and continue upgrading it. Of course, I'd like to replace the main line arrays, replace those with CBTs, better dispersion control. Also we'll add dome tweeters to those. I'm looking at a little VIFA tweeter. Be putting those in to take over above the 2-inch aura drivers, make the thing a 3-way system. I'm also designing an ultra-low frequency infinite baffle woofer to put in the attic that will get down into the single-digit hertz range, which is not something you can do with conventional woofers. The only technology on the market that I know of that can actually do it is the rotary subwoofer, which uses a fan blade to do it. Conventional woofers, I know a lot of guys think they're getting single-digit hertz with them, but I've never seen anybody be able to offer any proof of that. They make broadband measurements, or best case they use a limited resolution spectrum analyzer, which is not the correct way to measure that. You have to do that with very high resolution, FFT analyzer, something where you can actually look see if you're really getting what you think you're getting. If you think you're getting 7 hertz or 8 hertz, you have to look at only 7 hertz or 8 hertz. And you have to eliminate everything else and see if that's what you're getting or if you're actually getting a lot of something else. And most of these guys are measuring broadband, so they think they're getting a lot of output down to 7, 8 hertz, 6 hertz, whatever it is, but they're really not. And they can't measure it the way they're doing it. So the system I'm going to design will do it, but it's very unconventional design. It's be using suspended panels that will have the equivalent surface area of about a little over 15 inch drivers. And in order to get down to the 7, 8 hertz range, that's what you got to have. You just can't do it with, even if you had 15 inch drivers, you still couldn't do it because no matter which driver you choose, the distortion is way too high at that point. And to do this is requiring developing new technology, so it's not something that's going to be, I may put some results and data on YouTube once it's done, a couple of years from now when I get back, but the technology to do it is confidential, so I didn't develop all of it, somebody else did, so it's not something that is going to be commercially available, at least not anytime in the foreseeable future, but it's kind of the only way, other than the rotary woofer, it's probably the only way that you can get down to those kind of frequencies with low distortion. And conventional woofers just can't even come close. So these guys that think they're getting that, they're really not. But anyway, aside from all that, I hope you enjoyed the tour. I've got to get packing up to get out of here now, so hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.